So Scott, thanks for coming. Hey, I get this question all the time. How do you guys compare to the leading competitor and what's unique about Fin?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, as one of the founders of J2 Innovations, I really had a unique perspective of the industry up to that point and why J2 Innovations was created in the first place. And as a system integrator, I was an application engineer for over a decade. And I remember creating projects where I felt like I was doing the same steps over and over again, literally 3 times in the course of a project. For instance, if we were integrating some backnet devices, I'd be bringing into the database. But then I'm touching those same points a second time when I go and start linking up all the logic. And then I have the epiphany that when it's time to do the graphics, I'm linking up those same set of points a third time, and so on. And introduce dashboards, introduce some other things
Way
like
too
fault
many
detection.
repetitive clicks.
Exactly. I affectionately called myself the link monkey at the end of the day. And that was really the essence of the idea behind the Fin framework, is how can we do it in one spot, in this case, the database, and using a simple technology that's used throughout other industries called metadata, we're able to tag and give personality to the points that are being modeled in the database. I know it sounds kind of technical, but just think of it as going just a little bit beyond the name discharge air temperature and putting metadata that says discharge air temp sensor. And what the magic behind that is that now at the factory, meaning our developers at J2 Innovations, they can be taught one time to create an application to read that programmatically, not with a human in the middle, but the application says, give me all my space temperatures and put them into a table as an example, or link all of my discharge temperatures and PID loops to my chill water valves on the logic. And those steps are happening automatically. Wow. It's not the second and third time I'm touching the point. I touched it once, gave it some metadata, and now these other applications are doing it because they've been taught in the factory how to do it. And that relieves the system integrator having to do it on every project.
That's great. So let's talk a little bit about the metadata. For example,
Yeah.
I was a system integrator, and in the morning I will write DAT, then discharge air temperature, and at the end of the day I will say supplier temperature. So how is that metadata helps on that?
Right. A lot of people think Project Haystack, as an example, is a naming convention. And its roots are in trying to standardize naming. In fact, there is a tag called nav name, which is where we store that naming convention, DAT or SAT. The aha moment was that, to your point, the same human or other humans in the same office could call things at the point level by different names. So we have used metadata in our lives in many other places. I'll give you an example, like in Facebook. I'll take a picture of this conference and the photo will have a unique file name, but behind the scenes, it's going to have Las Vegas. It's going to have AHR as metadata tags. And so independent of what that photo ID number was in my camera, Facebook, as an example, can post it into my feed, and it can be linked back to the event and so on and so forth. No system integrator making those links between the file name because that's the only choice they have. The application is doing the work. So in a way, we're evolved now from being just a name with a human interpreting it to data that a application can interpret as a machine. And that automatic or automagic piece of it is the secret sauce behind the scenes.
So by having that data already structured, you mentioned the graphics cannot create the creation of the graphics. What else beyond the graphics? You also mentioned tables.
Yeah, and tables is a big part because that used to be probably the most labor consuming thing for me.
God. Yeah.
I would have to, let's say there's 5 points on a VAV times 100 VAVs. Every one of those boxes of the Excel spreadsheet or the table had to be linked.
Putting the little box inside the grid box.
Yeah, and you had to align them.
Oh my God,
it was horrible.
Yeah.
And now it's a query. It literally is a query based on the context of where the customer is navigating in our software. It says on floor 1 of the city center, give me these 5 points. Behind the scenes, what it's asking for is zone, air, temp, sensor, and so forth. So again, the machine is doing the work, or the software is doing the work for us. There's another kind of related topic to it, and that is relativizing. Relativizing is taking that query idea and make it generic enough that what I did for this floor, I could also do for the other floor. What I did for this building, I could also do for the other building. Now, we know about relativizing because we do that with graphics. We don't create 500 VAV graphics, we make a typical one, and somehow the software will substitute. Well, imagine doing that for control routines, literally a set of blocks for a smart alarm that instead of linking all those and then copy, link, our control engine is smart enough to do like our graphic engine does. And as the multiple numbers of VAVs goes up, that same set of blocks will automatically link itself to the next piece of equipment, the next piece of equipment, and the next
So you
piece of
only
equipment.
write one routine for many.
Yep. And the link is generic. And the reason it's generic, or the way it's generic, is that link is dynamically based on tags. So you take our original discussion where it always used to be hard-coded based on the name. Now it's soft-coded based on the tags. And therefore, our control engine can dynamically switch out and do that linking for us. So imagine having to make a difference, a change at the end of a job when you realize that you had to put occupancy into your high temperature alarm so you didn't get false alarms during the summer evening.
Modify each routine.
Yeah, you would be nuts.
Yeah.
In our case, you go into the original set of blocks. There's only one set. Add the occupancy, make a few link changes, and as soon as you put save, that control engine has a new set of blocks that's rippling through 11 or 1100 VAV high temperature alarms.
That's a big time saving.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
Relativizing doesn't stop there. We can do it for our summaries. We could do it on our saved charts. So one of our historians feature is I've got all the data coming in historically for an air handler, and now I've made nice customizations so that I have last week's versus this week's energy or valve positions or space temperatures. I can save that. And one of the steps is I can do save chart relativize. So any air handler or any VAV or any KW meter that has those same kinds of points would be automatically customized as well. So
Just one.
You just do it in one,
Yeah.
and then it goes everywhere. So I think those two key concepts is what makes Fin very unique from a system integrator's perspective. The ability to use metadata to automate things before the system integrator even has to touch it. And relativizing, build it once, use it many times. Mm-hmm. And in fact, we use those same words for the last concept, which is templating.
Templating.
So imagine being able to see typicalness in the kinds of projects and the kinds of devices you're integrating, VAVs, fan coils, even air handlers and rooftops. This job now can be reused on the next job and the next job. We break it into a bite-sized piece, we put it into what's called a template, and that template is what we might have done mentally with our copy-paste, but it does it as a file, a little zip file, and that file contains all the information about the database points, all the information about any logic that's related to it.
Oh, so it's not just the graphic.
Exactly.
So graphic, routines, database, nice.
Even the tuning policy. So the controller that I typically hook to needs to be pulled at a certain rate. That tuning policy gets packaged up into that. Even the assets. So I always was a stickler for doing the sequence of operation and the wiring diagram as a little hyperlink for the owner. We have a thing called O&M manuals.
You can store the PDF as part of the template.
The template.
Wow. So the user will have that as in one single file.
Correct. So that really brings all three of those together. Those points are automatically binding. The relativizing is automatically happening on things like the summaries and the unique graphic or the typical graphics. And now the template is making it totally reusable. So imagine just starting a fresh job with 5 rooftops and 50 VAVs. That's basically 2 typical templates. And the process looks like this. Template, restore, discover, backnet devices, clone. Template, restore, discover VAV devices, clone.
That's it?
Full stop.
Wow.
You've got navigation, you've got graphics, you've got technician level graphics, you have summaries, you got your O&M manuals, your wiring diagrams, sequence of operation, and you did it in like,
The sequence of operations. That is very cool.
so that's where we're heading. That's what makes Fin unique.
Scott, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
This is very cool. Thank
Always.
you.